I think that a responsible man of God would more than seize this opportunity to demonstrate the power of God, not necessarily by gathering hundreds of people together, many of them who will be at the risk of contacting one thing or the other from the other person. Up until a week ago, I was a member of the Lagos State Covid-19 think tank, the governor's Covid-19 think tank. And we served on that committee for about 2 months. So yes, I pretty have a fair idea of at least how it's been, the response, the Lagos response. As you said, COVID-19 we're still living with it. But I think we've gotten to a stage where I call the adaptive stage, where we're now being familiar with the symptoms, with different treatment protocols. You have more people being managed, some in isolation centers, others in alternative care centers. Like, for example, in Lagos now, recently private clinics have been licensed, provided they pass certain criteria to actually treat COVID-19. But by and large, it's not as, the anxiety around COVID-19 is not as high as it was when it first hit the country. The kind of anxiety we have now is an anxiety of what appears to be a second spike, and which was predicted that year before that, these things come in waves. The first wave came, and I'm not even too sure that we're over the first wave. There was a late realization of the fact, especially by many of us here, that COVID-19 was real and it was actually ravaging. So people were less careful, didn't pay as much attention. But now when we've seen more evidence, and people know somebody who knows somebody that has COVID-19, of course, now people are concerned. So this is a sort of secondary bout of concern, or a bout of concern as a result of new awareness and new understanding of COVID-19. Whether we borrowed it from them, religion is religion. You can't challenge anybody's faith.
The clamor for churches opening.
Well, you see, it's the clamor for churches opening has all sorts of dimensions to it. There is in the first place, the Bible itself, and it doesn't only go for churches. It goes for churches, it goes for mosques. But I'm a Christian, so I'm familiar more with the church. But I know that many Muslims too are concerned. I mean, Saudi Arabia, for example, has limited the number of people coming into Saudi Arabia for Hajj. And they've made millions of dollars and millions of money off the Hajj. Another country, even Rome, the Vatican, most of the countries of the world, they are concerned until they have some kind of clear understanding of where this pandemic is leading to. I think globally and within the governments of Nigeria too, we've tried to play safe to say that, well, for now, until we know how to deal with this and the circumstances and how prepared people are for this, I think we should, maintain.
Or would you say how responsible people want to be?
Well, yes, or how responsible people want to be. So for now, the Bible, for example, says that where 2 or 3 are gathered together, I will be with them. I believe that COVID-19 has even made virtually every home a church and a fellowship. The difference is that it is not under anybody. There's also a difference in terms of, there's a pecuniary issue here in terms of financing. A lot of churches depend on being open to raise the kind of monies they raise. And this calls to question, what is the motivation of the opening of these churches? I think that a responsible man of God would more than seize this opportunity to demonstrate the power of God, not necessarily by gathering hundreds of people together, many of them who will be at the risk of contacting one thing or the other from the other person. Now, God forbid if you go to a church and you're more than 25 in a choked space, or everybody after an exhilarating service, you go hugging about and kissing and high-fiving, and somebody catches something. How do you track? How do you trace? How many of the pastors are ready to come out and go and actually heal and lay hands on COVID-19 patients? So I am very particularly disturbed that some so-called men of God are kicking against the churches. Not okay, the churches have never been shut. The churches have never been shut. They've only been, the church of God is not limited to bricks and mortar. The church of God is in the soul, in the people that gather together, right? And if there are 2 people or 3, the Bible says 1 will chase 1,000, 2 will chase 10,000. So if you have 6 people gathering together, what is 10 times to the power of 6? That should be how it works. So, I don't really understand the motivation of those religious leaders.